Okay, explain, John.
Here we have a vernal pool with the pin oak. Uh, this is the type of wet environment that the pin oak, once called the water oak, likes. Also have a very majestic old, maybe century-old eastern cottonwood tree. This may be an unevaluated wetland.
All right, thank you. What are you finding?
Well, we're able to understand the feature a lot better. We were at a pin oak lined vernal pool, and we found the stream emanating that going down into the sinkhole. We already see the valley that is characteristic of the sinkhole. And I think we've been walking out here for considerable time, and this is the first time we've seen flowing water.
Indeed. John, what are you finding here? Tell me.
We're finding a depression that is about, I think, 20 meters in depth, which is what you go through to get from the clay overburden into the dolostone that makes karst formations such as sinkhole. It's very exciting. One of the things I read in a study by the Conservation Authority, they said there's no groundwater recharge here. The water that you see here is going under the ground. Look how far back this extends. It's quite an enormous sink. I don't think this was shaped by an excavator. See? Incised valley. Hear the chickadee. Are you in the sinkhole?
Just on the edge here.
Good. See how big it is? A lot of these sinkholes in the Niagara-Hamilton area, you find very tall, majestic eastern cottonwood trees immediately above the sinkhole.
I'm panning up.
The Hamilton Conservation Authority, we should try to see this, Bob, sometime. They have an Aramosa karst conservation area where they've protected an area just like this. And they have it declared an area of natural and scientific interest. And these are rare features. Like, I'm sure you've walked in the woods in Niagara a lot, Martin. We've never seen anything like
I have not.
it. And it's controversial. Like, prominent reporter Doug Draper, he won't even publicize this finding. Yes, we're at the top of what I believe to be a sinkhole, 20 meters deep, that goes into the karst bedrock. This remarkable feature of water being drained from a considerable area going into the ground, it's similar to the Aramosa karst, which was, before it was a conservation area, was declared an area of scientific interest by the Ministry of Natural Resources. Something like this is of interest. I've only seen once in my life a place where the water clearly goes down into the ground. And that was on a tour of someone that knew the feature and wanted to see it. It wasn't just like walking in the woods. It's how I found this. And what alerted to me was the sound of the running water. The only place in this forest where I've ever heard that sound.
It's very unique, the echoing sound of the water disappearing.
Yeah. Disappearing down into the groundwater, into the sinkhole. Replenishing aquifers.
And
in
creating,
one way, that's especially neat of replenishing because all the water that's been taken out by the power canal. It could provide a role that we really don't clearly understand. Has not been analyzed by geologists, hydrogeologists.
Thank you.
Well, this is where this brook, that's a combination of two brooks, goes underground here. And I believe it contributes to groundwater recharge. And there's a report, Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority claims there's no significant groundwater recharge in this area. I mean, this obviously, all this water going down into the ground obviously constitutes significant groundwater recharge. This is always flowing. We've seen this feature for 2 months. There's always about the same amount of water. I mean, this is a melting season, but it's a very significant feature. It shows this development here, can contaminate groundwater. It also shows that the development here is vulnerable to collapse. Many reasons why this shouldn't be built upon. The cottonwood tree in itself, with all this grooved bark, could be a place for bats to roost. This is a mature forest. It would have to be at least 50 years, the cottonwoods, to get this sod.
How deep do you think it is there, John?
Well, let's see, Martin for scale. 6, 12, 18, 22, 30, 50 feet to that hole. 25 feet. 25 feet. Groundwater. It's an amazing feature. I mean, that's part of the reason they protected the Eramosa Towers. People more aware of groundwater. And we'll eventually see when we stop at a coffee shop or someplace where this is, if this is in a protected wetland, if it's an area they plan to build on. Is it an area that's a protected area that they want to remove the protection from?
not only
vulnerable because of dewatering by the power canal. But it could be a sinkhole created natural forces that had nothing to do with the power
Could you just describe again what dewatering is?
canal. Yes, so you see in limestone and dolostone, they're not smooth rocks. They have like holes and pits in them. And that is where water is. And it's interesting that with a hand pump, what you're really doing is slowly taking water out of those pits by the pressure of it. And you reduce the weight of the rock when something dewaters, goes into the, and then it becomes vulnerable to collapse. And this frequently happens when quarries are built. The quarries will dewater. In the past, you would often see like ponds in quarries. Well, that's a result of this dewatering. And when that happens, you will often get sinkholes and ground collapse.
And we're close to the canal here,
Yeah, the power canal.
the power canal.
For the Adambeck 1 plant, which is being replaced by a tunnel, which is, of course, was built to a higher environmental standard. But when they built the power canal, all this sort of appreciation for protection of the environment was in its infancy. And, people did not, think about the effect on groundwater and that when that was built. And if you look at the later things, both Adam Beck and 2 and Big Bertha were built to much higher environmental standards than the power canal. And it did dry up a whole number of springs. And it could have contributed to this, or it could have been something humans had nothing to do with. It's some natural process.
Very interesting. Thank you.